なぜお前が得意げ?
So with this episode, we get the creation of Detective Anya, or Covert Anya, whichever one you want to say. And I've always liked this sort of character where she has that alter ego of the spy-ish sort of personality that comes out in occasional chapters, and we see it finally in this episode. And so this was a very enjoyable episode for me. Now, I do want to apologize because in my last episode, I said that this episode will cover 2 major chapters in the comic. One that would introduce a specific support character, and although she does come out in this episode, we don't get a tremendous amount of introduction for her. And I guess that would be good because the introductory chapter that came out in the comic probably deserves a longer amount of time than is available in this episode after we see the Detective Anya episode. But in any case, I did like this episode a lot because of that one your moment that comes out in it. Now, to be honest, if I were to compare the manga with the anime, in this particular case, I did like the manga better, and that's just my personal taste. I always find that the manga goes a little bit more efficiently in its pacing, and the anime goes a lot more into elaborate detail. And it can go both ways. I found in situations where I found the anime more enjoyable, and other times when I find the manga more enjoyable. In this case, because the humor came in the really fast-paced movement of the scenes, going from Anya's take your child to work day, which for your is that assassination mission. And you see her talking to Anya about the benefits of assassination while she goes through running, passing right through the enemy lines, and then immediately stabbing that guy to death and watching Anya get covered in blood. And that fast pace that you saw in the manga worked really well in keeping that humor alive. In this one, the action is there, and it's nice to see Yor go into the various actions to see the details of what goes on. But it kind of loses the humor for me somewhere along the way. The fast pace just kept the humor alive, and then it was done, and it was really hilarious. The other thing I liked about it is it was a little bit more graphic in its violence. And the contradiction between how Yor is talking about it as if it's a wholesome job to the very violent situations that Anya gets into was really funny. In this case, I think they toned down the violence for a little bit of a general audience and they made the blood pink rather than red. It was still enjoyable and I found it funny, but I didn't find it as funny as I did in the comic, and that's just me. I think a lot of other people enjoyed the anime version. But in any case, then of course, Anya is like, I think I'll go ask Dad for this project. Now, this project turns out to be not really take your child to work, but basically each one of the students has to write a report and a presentation with regards to some adult's job. And so everybody typically picks their parents. And Anya is no different, so she goes off with Lloyd. And that's where Detective Anya comes out because she wants to learn and investigate everything about what's going on with Dad's job. And so Lloyd takes her to the hospital where he is in the psychiatric ward. And it's a very cute, wholesome scenery because everybody finds Anya to be cute. And because of that, they dote on her a lot. And because of that, Anya finds Lloyd's job to be very, very enjoyable. But of course, Lloyd is not there as a psychiatrist. That's only a front. Lloyd is there as a spy. And so there are these spy situations that's built into his job. And one of them is a secret passage that the spies can use to go in and out of the hospital. And because Anya can read Lloyd's mind, she immediately finds out about it. And the rest of the episode is about the goofiness that occurs within that time. A lot of it you should see, but of course we get to enjoy even more meme face Anya moments. And this part of the episode closes where, of course, Anya's back in school again, and she's talking and describing about Lloyd's work. But instead of presenting it as a wholesome image of a psychiatrist helping people with psychiatric problems, she had read Lloyd's mind, and so she made notes that were a mixture of what he said and what he thought, which was, of course, the spy mission, right? And so there's all this stuff about Anya, of course, receiving all these contributions from many people in the ward because they found Anya cute, but the way she said it, it almost sounded like Lloyd was taking bribes. And of course, it went even to the point where she was talking about how Lloyd would use physical violence to take care of the patients, which was like, yeah. Mr. Henderson eventually calls Lloyd in to ask about his job, and it takes several days of his explanations to smooth things out. So yeah, Detective Anya, it's cool to watch you investigate, but you've got to do a little bit better in your due diligence. But of course, that's the funny part of this story. Now, the rest of the episode goes over another filler, I think, because I don't remember this part in the comic, but it was quite cute. Anya is watching Bond Man again, and through the story, she is getting enamored by secret meetings, and so she starts distributing all of these secret meeting messages to a lot of people, hoping that they will come and appear at the secret meeting. And the only one that reacts to the message is Frankie, because he doesn't remember who he received this message from, because I think Anya secretly gave it to him. And so, because it is a secret meeting, he is thinking once again that it must be one of the lady spies that he is with. And that, of course, sends him on this mission of trying to make himself look good and buying a lot of flowers, and he ends up at that secret meeting. Now, it would have been funny enough if Anya was the one that appeared and disappoints Frankie, but in this case, Anya completely forgets about it because she oversleeps due to the fact that Bond kind of chews on her alarm clock and breaks it. And so Frankie, unfortunately, I guess, was left stuck out there waiting forever. And this story ends once again with that slightly awkward situation. But in any case, episode 19 was good. I always enjoy it when Anya goes on her fantasy spy-ish detective sort of situations. We've only seen one of them here. There's a few more in the comic, and they're always cute and funny. But the episode that I was thinking that would come out in this one, but I am now sure is coming out in episode 20, that will be good because we do get a full introduction into this specific character. And not only is that episode funny, but it opens up a relatively long arc. In the case of the comic, it went for 6 chapters, so I would think that the next 3 to 4 chapters will involve that character and the story that goes around it. Since we only have a few episodes left, I got a feeling that this season might end with that particular arc, which will be pretty interesting because there are some very funny your moments in there as well. It's kind of a strange arc in some ways, but the ending is really, really good. And so that would be a good way to close off this particular season. It's not as exciting as the first part because it doesn't end in a cliffhanger, but because this does close out the season, maybe it's best that it doesn't. But in any case, that is the episode 20 discussion of Spy Family the anime. Once episode 21 comes out, I'll bring out another video and hope you join me at that time. But what you think about this episode, if you can leave a comment, I would greatly appreciate it. And until the next episode, happy anime watching, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.